Welcome to Sales is Not a Dirty Word, the podcast that shows you how to convert 8 out of 10 sales conversations without acting like a douchebag. I'm your host, innovative sales coach, Aleasha Bahr, the creator of the Black Sheep Sales Method. Because if it's a fit, it's a fact, and there is no selling involved. If you're a service provider selling your own service and you're ready to sell differently than the mainstream status quo and win more sales without pressure, pitching, or pretending to be someone else, then this is for you. If you want to know more about the Black Sheep Sales Method, then go to Aleashabahr.com. So this episode is with Jessika Phillips. Known as the queen of relationship marketing, Jessika is on a mission to redefine corporate America and create something she wants to be a part of. Jessika founded Now Marketing Group in 2010 with only a laptop and a vision to give people with heart an upper hand. Now Marketing Group was recognized as Inc. Best Places to Work in 2022, is a Forbes recognized agency partner, partnered with Facebook, Google, and is a certified inbound partner with HubSpot. Now Marketing Group works with more than 100 clients across the United States and beyond, choosing to serve, not sell. Jessika lives by a personal mission of helping inspire people to love more, give more, and be more through authentic relating and proving that doing what's right, not what's easy, can turn a vision into a profitable agency that produces results. And I met Jessika at an event and just absolutely loved her. She's had a ton of success. She's now a 7-figure marketing agency, which is not easy to do. And there have been a lot of twists and turns and bumps that I think are going to be really insightful for anyone listening today. So let's go. Welcome to the big show. Sales is not a dirty word.
Yay, I love it. And I'm so excited to be here with you. I was counting down the days just because it's always great talking to you.
I know. So excited you're here. And you have such a great point of view that I haven't really had on the show before, which is so important. And anybody listening is dealing with similar growing pains. So you started in 2010 with a laptop and a dream. And I love that you were like, I'm going to lift up people who are not just doing this for money, right? Who want it, who have a bigger purpose. How long did it take for you to hit that first growing pain where you were like, I have to bring people on to help me fulfill my services? That's usually the first one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think I started out with some growing pains because I didn't even have a laptop when I started my online marketing company. It was really about driving into just the notion that there's no way I can fail at this because I'm so passionate about it first. So a little quick, very short backstory. I worked in telecommunications for most of my early adult life. Grew up the ranks from customer service to sales to store manager to distribution partner, and was helping mom and pop businesses get started selling the cell phones and learning how to train their team on why to sell our phones over somebody else's, and had the company car. I thought I was living this dream. Ended up getting pregnant with my last daughter and got really sick, right? And during that time of getting sick, I was in the hospital for 8 out of the 9 months that I was pregnant.
Oh my God, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, not good. So that's why it was my third and last daughter at that point. It's like, never again. We're not doing this again. But during that time, I was let go because they said, we can't cover your territory. We're growing quickly in telecommunications. This was the day when data was just coming out, right? And all the fun stuff with it. So when that was happening and I was getting let go, I was so determined, oh my gosh, how can a company let me go, right? How can they treat me like this when I was like a big breadwinner for them and the sales, top sales rep. So I just wanted to create something I wanted to be part of, like it said. And at the time when I was sitting in the hospital room, even though I was sick, my phone was still ringing from the companies that I'd worked with. And they were asking me about how to set up some social media tools and things like that. So I'm walking them through this process and telling them, here's some ways that you can market your company on a little budget to get started. And a light bulb went off. So I started Now Marketing Group. And then within the first 3 months, I ended up getting my first couple clients after, having my daughter and all the things. Got my first couple clients, got my first laptop. And then I would say the very first hurdle that happened from doing that was realizing, okay, when you start bringing on more clients, more personality, you need to make sure that there's a process in place for growth, right? That
Mhm.
you can't do it all, because at the time
Mhm.
I was doing the flip video cameras. I'm dating myself now. In 2010 to take the videos, I'm doing the social post, I'm
Yeah.
doing the, invoicing, all of that. And I
Right.
I had it all up here in my head. I didn't
Mhm.
have the processes in place on paper, but I knew that I needed more help to grow. So that's when I was like, "You know what? I need to pause first if I'm gonna grow, and I need to put these processes on paper." So that was definitely the first hurdle. I
Mm.
realized that even though you have this dream and this goal and you can do it, you're gonna reach this block of where you're gonna have, a growth stopper because you don't have the processes in place in order to keep growing.
Yeah, I mean, there's something very important that I want to point out here about what you've said. That the companies that you worked with at your old company were like, "Wait, I like you so much. I still want to work with
Mhm,
you." And
mhm,
that's what happens when you just actually give a shit about someone
mhm.
else. It's such a rare experience for a client to have that it makes them want to follow you wherever you go. And I had the same experience when I left. Like, I sold digital marketing for a big media company. And when I left, they're like, wait, no, I trust you. I
Mhm.
don't trust the company.
Yep.
And that says so much about what you do, relationship marketing, and how it really flows into that strategy. So I think it's important to call that out. Um,
100%.
and I can't believe that you thought processes first, because I certainly didn't when I had my marketing agency. I was just like, I need some help. I need to tap someone in and they're going to like shadow me and figure it out, which is not the best way to go about it.
Well, when you're a first-time business owner too, and especially if you're coming from corporate America, you're used to being able to go to someone and they already have it, right? So the process is already there. You can just grab it, get it from someone else. But when the buck stops with you, you're like, oh, yeah, I should, pause real quick and get, this, maybe it's not so fun stuff done, but it's a crucial stuff done so you can have really good, efficient, experiences for everybody that's working with you. So it does build that relationship. And I love that you said that about, the relationships will follow. One of those things I say all the times is relationships will always be more powerful than any marketing or anything else you can do. And it's one thing that nobody else can take away from you, and they can't fake it, they can't
Mhm.
buy it, it's not for sale. Like, that's the thing. And so processes are a part though of that, because it's going to make sure the process is either frictionless working with you,
Mhm.
or it's going to be a little bumpy and not, create a great experience.
Yeah, it'll be like a total shit show.
Yeah.
So
Nice way of saying it. Yeah.
yeah, like, what is the client
Mhm.
experience like? Which so many
Mhm.
people are so concerned with front end sales that they don't even think about the client experience on the back end. And I can tell that you're similar to me, where it's like, "Oh my god, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that
Oh,
you're having
100%.
this terrible experience." Like, it reflects on me, reflects on my company, it reflects on the results that I'm gonna get for you. Like, if I were you, it would make me not trust me. Like,
Yeah.
that stuff is so important and then not thought about very
Mhm.
much. And it sounds like it was just like a natural thing for you to think about. And I think a lot of people don't naturally think about that. They are more thinking about, like, how do I bring on more money?
Yeah, I think it became out of, like I said, necessity of needing to grow. I had 3 small little babies at home, right? Like, your house only runs smooth at home if you know where things go and who's going where, what time, and things can run smoother. So, it was just trying to taking kind of that instinct for my work baby and doing the same thing and building that out. So, but there were many other things that just kept growing that you find out that you need along the way. So it wasn't just, the operational things of knowing like, oh, I do need to have a process for, selling this way, or to, follow-ups with clients, or if something goes wrong, and what tools we're using and how we're going to communicate, because some people like phones, some like,
Mhm.
text, email, whatever. How are we streamlining this? But then also, looking at what's the process going to be to bring team members on, kind of keeping them trained, and our clients on as well. And what areas do I like doing that that's my superpower in, and where are the gaps where, okay, I'm probably not the best designer at all, that I could hire somebody else's superpower to make sure that our company grows the right way for everyone.
Yeah. So the first growing pain, very important. And I think a lot of people are like, how do I know it's the right graphic designer? How do I know I'm hiring the right person? Like that's the scariest thing. It's not about just skills on a resume. It's like, how does this person actually
100%.
do what they say they're gonna do? Because so many people just don't do what they say they're gonna do. Um, so was that the next hurdle for you, or was there another one?
I would say qualifying based on actions too, right? So learning those authentic relating questions, not the typical, and I mean learning these questions not only for who you're bringing on to hire, but also the clients that you're going to be working with and the communities that you're going to align yourself with. Because I like to say, the sales funnel is kind of dead. We like to focus on a flywheel effect of how can you continuously grow momentum so, your clients turn into your biggest advocates, your team members to your biggest evangelists, the community into collaborators. But there has to be that alignment first where you feel good about working with each other and you trust each other and have each other's backs. So, what that process was creating a list of authentic relating questions
Mm,
and not being in a rush of being like, oh my gosh, I know there's like 6 designs that need done right now.
mm,
You say you can do it? Okay, good. Go here. Let's pass this off, but really taking our time to make sure we're asking the right questions and doing our due diligence up front to know that it will be a good long-term fit because you can teach the skill, you can't always teach the personality at all
mhm,
or make sure that you guys are going to vibe together. And the same thing goes with even like I said the clients that you're working with. So putting together then not only the SOPs but then a process for a questionnaire process for bringing on team
mm.
members and for clients before any kind of offer or estimate proposal, anything sent over to either one.
Yeah. I mean, avoiding nightmare clients is something that we talk about a lot on this show. And I think it's a really
We're good
cool
at
connection to say
it.
avoiding bringing on nightmare hires
Mhm.
because those will cause even more pain than a nightmare client, I would say.
It's a ripple effect because they're the ones that are gonna be dealing with clients, right? And if we wanna grow word of mouth and we wanna keep growing the business, like, if you're hiring the wrong people and then they're treating your client wrong, it not only reflects on the client, but also you as an organization. So having those policies and processes in place for also like if there are some things that maybe are bumpy and that maybe they were taught wrong or has some old habits brought
Mm,
in that
mhm,
they learned from a previous job, potentially like what does that then look at like I hate to keep saying the streamlining a process, but how
mm.
can you coach? How can you, refine and make sure when people are potentially the right fit that just maybe have some of the wrong skills or habits that are brought in that you have a process for coaching them through it and hopefully growing still with them so then they stick with you.
Yeah. So, what are some good examples of like relating questions? These questions you're talking about that you ask a hire. Like, what
Yeah,
do you
so I ask them like, how do they like to be coached? Would they rather work, in an office or remote? What things are they motivated by? What kinds of things trigger them? What do they feel like if they could do anything in the world, what would it be? Doesn't I don't want to. You don't have to say here. Like, what would it be? If it was
Yeah.
my choice, like 20 years ago, it'd be a backup dancer for Janet Jackson. Like, right? Just tell
Oh
me
my
what
gosh,
that is for
so
you.
fun.
But like whatever that thing is for you, so you can truly get to know them and see if they're going to be honest with you. I do have like a whole list of them on our site, even
Oh, good.
or even like just discovery questionnaires for clients. It's like, what's your biggest goal? Like,
Yeah.
what are you expecting out of a relationship? What kinds of thing? It goes on and it gets past just like, what services are you looking for? It's not that. It's what are they expecting out of a relationship? Kind of both ways for both people.
Yeah, that's such a big one in what we focus on here too is like, what are you expecting from me as a service provider? Like, let's
Mhm,
make sure that expectation lines up. And I want to give you the worst case scenario. Like, it's going to take us, worst case
mhm.
scenario, 72 hours to get back to you. Are you going to freak out? Are you going to be okay?
And what are
Ideally,
you committed to doing? We ask them that too.
yeah,
Mhm.
like, are you going to be able to do X, Y, and Z? Because if you can't, then we can't do our part. And so we should just, like,
Yeah.
get that out on the table right
Yeah.
now.
It's basically like dating, right? You wanna know, like, your non-negotiables on both sides, because you are building a relationship with both parties. But I love what you said, like, get all the bad stuff out of the way. Like, here's some things that, are the greatest things about us, but here's some things that, like, hey, I here's some of my quirks that are you okay with that? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you now. And most people feel really refreshed by that, and then they feel
Mhm.
like they can let down their guard and be more open and honest as well on their end.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, "Oh my god, somebody's being transparent with me." Like, I
Mhm.
feel like I can trust the good things they're saying in addition to
Yep.
these bad things instead of only talking about the good things. It's like, could I trust that? I don't know. They're probably making themselves sound as good as possible.
Mhm. Yeah, especially with team members, ask them to go talk to your old team members first or current ones, and ask them beforehand. And I say because sometimes it's kind of nerve-wracking asking you maybe the person that's hiring you.
Yeah.
But, we've also done interviews with team members where, one of the so let's say we're hiring for account manager, we'll have an account manager sit in on the interview for another account manager instead, so
Mm.
they can, dish it out, and they know that their answers aren't gonna be, prompted by somebody that's trying to bring them on, you know?
Yeah, and they can probably identify even better the traits that
Mhm.
they need, like, "Ooh, they said this, and I think that's gonna really help them in this position because 'cause they're, like, actively doing the
Yeah,
position.
exactly.
I love that. That's definitely something we haven't talked about on this show here before. Okay, so you experienced some growing pains bringing on team. Was there like a, "Oh my god, this thing is blowing up," in a bad way, like a bomb, like detonating moment in the business?
I would say I think again, when we first started, that's still the same thing, bringing on clients first,
Mhm.
without doing the discovery, just kinda
Oh,
trusting, doing that discovery process. That was the first part where I realized, like, "Oh my gosh, we might have to let some clients go." Like, when we were really growing fast, and we were just getting referred word of mouth referrals from other clients, and then
mhm.
they're like, "Oh, one of our clients that we love referred you. Okay, we can, kind of trust the process and go from there." But that's the first time it was, I think we were 4 years old at that time, where we had to let a client go and, a team member go as well. That was just that's a hard thing to do because you
Yeah.
see the dollars there.
Yeah.
And you see, like, okay, but team members are frustrated by it. I don't wanna do it, like, if it's just a joy suck,
Yeah.
you know it in your gut, like, those are some of those hard moments, there. I would definitely say as well as then, just continuing with more processes, and building those out.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've all been there, probably anybody listening to this. And I've tried to tell people, warn them that like some money is not better than no money. But it's one of those things that you just have to learn firsthand, basically.
Mhm.
And I think probably some help, people fall into some help is better than no help.
Yeah,
What?
I could see that. Even, like, pricing for us, I think that was another one I just thought of, is that, like, when you're pricing first, you're thinking, "Oh, it's just gonna be me and maybe 5 people," and, like, having those difficult conversations about, like, "Okay, now we're growing, we're building out our toolkit and our, software that we have and all the things that we're investing for ourselves to be the experts that you want to hire," but then having that conversation of, "Okay, we might have to increase our prices." And that's always been a harder one for me, I would say. I'm like, gulp when I have to talk about it. It's been a lot better now that I've went through lots of training and
Yeah.
now learn how to do that and know the worth. But at that point, then it was just like, oh, well, I care. I don't want to ask them for more money, because then they're going to think I'm just about money. And that's not the case. That's
No.
not how it works. But at that moment, that was a hurdle I had to get over and recognize myself that I had to get over it, and setting the bar for everyone else having that conversation.
Yeah, that is a great point. When companies grow, they have more overhead and like how to position it to the client in a way that's like this is actually for your benefit. It's not just like, "Oh, I have more bills, so I'm going to like increase your prices." Because it's not
Yeah.
about that. It's about a more streamlined, seamless way of doing things and really talking about the benefits to the client of that.
Yeah.
Because you don't want them to feel like I'm just going to pay more for the same stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which
100.
can feel like such a scary conversation. So now you have 12 full-time people, which is a lot. You got
Mhm.
W-2s.
Yeah.
Do you have health insurance?
Yes.
Oh my God. It's
Uh-huh.
just so much infrastructure to manage and honestly, like, cost that you have
Yeah.
to carry. So, I mean, is there something you would say for, like, retention and performance in the team? Because 12 people
Mhm.
is enough to kind of, like, not you people need to kind of effectively manage themselves with that team size.
Well, and that's the other thing I learned, I would say last, not last, I'm still learning. I learn stuff every day. Because that's just even our full-time team members, and we have some freelance and part-time, people as well, and it's amazing, but one of the things I had to learn, and this was also from another aha moment, is when my dad was, like, really, really sick, I had to step away and take care of him, like, in Cleveland Clinic for 6 months, and I realized, like, I can't be the only one managing. And there's some really I hire people smarter than me all the time, like that they're all smarter than me.
Yeah.
But I needed to build in some other additional like leadership roles within the
Uh-huh.
company.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like, oh, everybody you can go to Jessica or whatever for stuff,
Ah,
but that there's leaders within the teams that they're working within,
yeah.
without it ever getting into silos, right? So, like, how do
Yeah.
we create that environment and that organizational structure? And it was so, like, perfect the way the team came together, and I brought in a consultant for myself to interview the team and see who even wanted it, who didn't, showing me some of the skill sets that maybe I wasn't even seeing on a day-to-day basis because
Ooh,
I just trusted them so much. I wasn't working micromanaged beside them all day.
right.
And then
Yeah.
seeing like, okay, here's some really strong leaders already within the company, and they've taken it. There's now, I can go away, do anything. I feel like everything is still great, because I have leaders in the organization, not everything just on me to manage.
That is the dream. So what was the
Mhm,
first so it sounds like a good tip from this is to
mhm,
hire your leadership role from within, somebody who's already
mhm.
there.
Yeah.
And then, like, what was the first leadership role you created?
I created a CMO. So chief marketing officer, which was over our account managers because there were more of them that were serving our social clients. So
Mhm.
I did that. I also had office manager right around the same time. So that was everything HR, those scary W-2s, all that stuff that she
Yeah.
had all the go-to intel for who to contact of who we have, already aligned within the company, that we've hired outsourced, our accounting, that kind of stuff. That she had all the intel on that.
Yeah, those 2 would free up so much time. So,
Mhm.
did the consultant you work with help you create, like, KPIs to hold these 2 people to, so you know that they're doing a good job?
Yes, and we did it together actually.
Okay.
So we worked together to kind of build out their role, and transition because it was hard, because they still had clients of their own because we were
Mm,
hiring within.
mhm.
So training like their replacement, and really kind of growing together and having a couple year plan. So it wasn't even just the first immediate thing. It was like, okay, we can take these clients off, give it to somebody else as we're training them. Then, it was like it's stepping into this role. So
Yeah.
very unique, probably not for everyone, but it was unique for us, and it was because it was a collaboration, I feel like it worked really well.
I actually think that sounds like a wonderful thing for most people to collaboratively create their role because it's like, what KPIs are you gonna hold yourself to? Like,
Mhm.
people are more this is something that I do a lot with sales teams too. It's like, what is realistic for you to reach for, right?
Uh-huh.
And, like, I can push back a little bit if I think that you're, like, underplaying it, you know? But, like, the more you're creating that with me, the more bought in you are on it rather
Yep.
than it just being put on you without any feedback from you, which we've all experienced that if you were in sales at the telecommunications company, like, I saw a meme recently that was like, "You know how we're gonna increase quota? We're just gonna make everybody's goal higher and not offer any additional support."
That's exactly what it was. When they were like, every person that you sold, you had to sell like 1.5 data and 3 accessories. I'm like, grandma does not need this right now. She just got her flip phone and still is happy with her minutes. Like, we don't need to do that. But it was always crazy like that. But one other thing, like what you're talking about with the collaboration and the KPI part of it,
Yeah.
the other benefit of asking your team members and creating this as part of your process is they usually will see things that we probably wouldn't see on a
Mhm.
day-to-day, and they're like, "You know what was a great idea? Because I just seen this over here," and they've brought a lot of those great ideas to the table, but they feel like, "Oh, I have permission to bring this up because I'm not just being told what to do. I do have some buy-in and ownership in this," you know?
And a lot of times that leads to longer retention. Like if they
Mhm.
got to create the role somewhat, then it's something that they're excited to be part of. So have you seen that
Yes.
help retention?
100%. I've had team members with me since the very beginning,
Oh my god.
and, we've had, the same team members with us for a long time, which is great.
That says so much. Most marketing agencies I know are like revolving doors of employees.
Mhm. We've definitely had years where we've had, some in and outs, and in which some of it was more even so like, "Hey," they realized, "Remote work is not for me. It sounds fun, but I need to be in the office and have some structure." You
Yeah,
think it's fun until it's not, you know?
right. Not every personality is made for it.
Mhm.
I hear a lot of times that like at marketing agencies, they'll go to a different marketing agency. Like they are constantly like trying to level up their pay by like agency hopping.
Mm. I haven't seen a lot of that.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of that, not
But not with
internally
you.
with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, honestly, like, it means so much to have I think that that just speaks to the fact that being really fulfilled and happy with your job isn't just about how much money you're making. It's about the contributions that you're making to the company, the culture, how appreciated you are. Those things ultimately make somebody they're harder to find than more money.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, so most people recommend, like, creating this culture ahead of time and then, like, having, like, a manifesto and, like, a mission statement and all these things.
Mhm.
Did you do that beforehand, and would you recommend that beforehand?
100%. So we created our manifesto. We did that even as a team, like a small but mighty team when we
Oh.
first were getting started. So I already had like, okay, my whole thing building what I want to become part of and help people love more, give more, be more. That's like was part of me. But then as it grew and we had this like core little, you know, now family of individuals, we created our manifesto together and kind of did a blend of it to be that foundation, because as our services grew and our teams and our skill sets grew, we did that. And then we have the full culture deck on like, here's what we want to be known for, here's what people are saying about us, here's our goals and our beliefs. And we do, even every Friday, like, we really do celebrate our team. Like, every Friday, we have something called the Now Yow Yow, where we spend about 45 minutes where we get to know each other. We'll have a team question, and then we do shout outs, for different
Oh,
team
I
members.
love
We
that.
we do level up challenges. So right now it's, step challenge, getting back in to the groove and doing step challenges and getting rewarded for that. And then we do, each one kind of rotates, where it's like reading this book or, something
Ooh.
spiritual, mental, physical, where we do challenges like that, to really celebrate each other. But a lot of the team members are also friends too, which is really cool.
Well, eventually, they're like family. I think that is
Uh-huh.
that is an important thing to talk about. That'll be the last thing we talk about. Um, I think a lot this is something that I struggle with. I get close with my people, and it's like there still needs to be like this I'm actually your boss thing. So how do you balance that? Like we're so close and I care so much about you, but it can't be at my expense that I
Yeah.
care about you.
Yep, and I think that's why you have somebody else in there as well. So, like, you always have, the non-negotiables, right? So we still have that check-in, every other week of like, hey, these are what you said you wanted to do. Here's what I say I need you to do. Love you. If I know you're going through something right now, okay, I'm gonna 100% support you and going through it. But you need to talk to me so we can have your back, so the the client doesn't fall behind, we don't fall behind, whatever. It's that direct line of communication. And I think if somebody really does truly care, they're going to respect you in that fact. You'll be able to tell quickly the people that don't legit have your back if they're not openly communicating, and if the excuses or the things are coming after the fact, after it's like, "Ooh, gotcha," kind of I'm seeing that that's not coming out.
Mhm.
Again, you can tell that in the culture when people are like, "No, I'll step in. I got this for you. I know
Ooh.
your kid just broke their arm or whatever. I need to, jump in and help you out, but we got you." But if you see the people that are not communicating and the work's not getting done, then you know that you have a problem. And yeah, you do have to put kind of your foot down and say, "These are the things that we both agreed to as an agreement for you and for us." And that's why also creating it together is important, because they have some additional accountability, there we go, in it for themselves as well.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I love that you said that I have really started making as part of my culture is like, we all have each other's back.
Mhm.
We are looking out for each other. We are helping, tagging someone in when we need to tag someone in, and we are getting
Mhm.
tagged in.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
that's such a like, I don't know, like reminds me of sister wives. Like, when you have like a family, you're like, wait, I kind of get it. Like, I get the sister wives thing. Like, I want a bunch of women who all have my back in this house, like taking care of these kids. And that's what I want the company to feel like. Um, okay, so that's a great stopping point for us. Thank you so much, Jessika, for these great insights that really provide a different kind of perspective that I hope you guys can all see how you could incorporate that into your job, especially like your company, especially, collaboratively creating things with the people that you're hiring or already have on your team. And so we've reached the end of yet another episode of Sales is Not a Dirty Word. Thank you so much, Jessika, for making an appearance today.
Thank you for having me.
And can you tell everyone how they can find out more about you and how they can work with you?
Sure. Yeah, you can go to nowmarketinggroup.com or Jessika, Jessika, Phillips.com, and just connect with me on the platform of your choice, and I would love to hear from you.
I want to put it out there. Jessika is thinking about taking on some coaching clients to help them with their business as they grow. And as you can hear, she's been through a lot of different phases of 15 years now. So you've heard some of these insights here. If you're going through growing pains, I would definitely reach out to Jessika. Or if you're just thinking about growing and would like to not experience growing pains, I would reach out to Jessika. And thank you all so much for listening. If you thought this was valuable, please like, share, subscribe, review. That stuff really makes a difference. And until next time.
Thank you.